Welcome back for episode 4 of my Oklahoma City Cyclones franchise mode here on Axis Football 2023. In the last video, we did our first offseason, and yeah, I know it was a shorter video. I think that's just the way the offseason videos are going to go. I will try to make them longer in the future, but for now, let's go ahead and get ready to kick off Season 2. At quarterback, we will be starting rookie Isaiah Jordan, who we drafted in the 4th round in the last video. And right now, our first round pick, Hayden Diaz, is on the bench, but we're actually going to start him over Jimmy Campbell just because he has a higher tackle rating. Our second round pick, Mason Bates, will actually start at fullback this season just because he has about the blocking that Richard Guerrero has, but Guerrero also has A speed, so we're going to move him to be our starting running back. So a couple episodes ago, I showed this screen, and I said I wasn't going to mess with the practice stuff yet. Well, for Season 2, I am going to up the practice intensity to heavy, and I've upped passing up to 4. I am hoping that it helps our quarterback develop a little bit. Now, I also know doing that can increase the risk for injuries, so if it starts to mount up, we will probably move it back down. So this draft is a little bit better on quarterbacks. You have Leon McKinney, who is estimated to be an A+, along with Caleb Walker, who is estimated to be an A+, with A+ throw accuracy, power, awareness, speed, and yeah, he looks to be a great quarterback. And then Mitchell Guerrero, who is expected to be an A, with A+ accuracy, power, awareness, speed, and I think that's fitness. So these are quarterbacks that look like if you have a chance to draft them, even if Isaiah plays well this season for us, if we end up in a position to take any of these guys, if the scouting actually holds up, I will most likely end up taking one of them. But now that all that is out of the way, let's kick off Season 2 and let's get to simulating the first 8 games of this season. And we lose in Week 1, 21-10. Let's see how our rookie quarterback did. Isaiah Jordan in his first start goes 19 for 34, 192 yards, 1 touchdown, and a pick. Guerrero in his first game as our starting running back gets 25 attempts for 109 yards. Their quarterback goes 25 of 40 for 191 and 2 scores. And it looks like their running back ran for 173 yards and a touchdown. And we got no injuries from last week, so let's simulate Week 2 against Chicago. And we pick up our first win on the season, 37-13. Let's see how everyone played. Isaiah Jordan goes 22 for 38, 155 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick, so he had a pretty solid day. Guerrero goes for 109 yards and a score. Their quarterback goes 23 of 38 for 155, no touchdowns and a pick, but their running back does run for 200 yards. Who got the 1 interception for us? That is going to be Boone. Alright, and we now have all of our scouting points ready to be used, so let's go ahead and start scouting these quarterbacks. The first one is Mitchell Guerrero, who moves up to an A+, and when we fully scout him, he stays as an A+, and then we will also go ahead and scout Timothy Stevenson, who drops down to a C+. Next up is quarterback Caleb Walker, so let's see where he goes. He stays as an A+. When we use him completely, so we know that he will be an A+. And what about Arturo March? He remains an A+ as well. And now the projected top quarterback in the class, Leon McKinney, drops to an A, and when we fully scout him, he goes back to an A+. So we may need to just get one of those guys. We will scout Cody Gross here, who will drop to a C+. And here we will scout some linemen, so let's go ahead and start with Jerry Dunn, who drops to a C. That is not a great start for this section. What about Gage Ortiz? He goes to a C+. And then do we have any other linemen up here? Sure, let's go Max Butler, who will also drop to a C. So it looks like the order has changed. Now Mitchell Guerrero is the top quarterback, Caleb Walker is still the second, and Leon McKinney has dropped down to the third quarterback. And we are going to spend $1.2 million. We know now that at the end of the season we will lose a lot of our funds available, but we're going to spend $1.2 million to fix the restroom so the fans actually want to come into the stadium. But now let's simulate Week 3 against the Minnesota Pride. And we will fall to 1-2 as we lose this game 28-19. Isaiah Jordan goes 19 for 31, 115 yards, 1 touchdown and a pick. Guerrero cannot do anything on the ground, only getting 26 yards on 18 carries. Their quarterback goes 26 of 39 for 203, 1 touchdown and a pick, and their running back runs for 2 touchdowns. But now it is time for the Week 4 game against the Buffalo Grizzlies. And before we get to that result, it looks like our linebacker coach Marshall Chandler has earned a badge. He is now a linebacker expert and gets a +1 boost to all linebacker attributes. And we take home the win 34-9, so we improve to 2-2. And it looks like Jordan had a pretty solid day. 17 of 32 for 120 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Guerrero did not do anything on the ground, but Bates did run in for, I believe, his first career touchdown. We held their quarterback to 18 of 33 for 118 yards and no touchdowns. And we held their running back to 17 yards on 16 carries. And now that we are 4 games in, we can go ahead and take a look at some season stats. As of right now, Jordan has about 600 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. On the ground, Guerrero has 274 yards and only 1 touchdown. And receiving, Braden Owens, 27 catches for 243 yards and 2 scores, and Angelo Carroll has 3 touchdowns. Leading the team in tackles is linebacker Darren May. In sacks, that goes to linebacker Keaton Weber. What about interceptions? Reynolds has 1, Boone has 1, and that looks like Daniels. I can't see his first name though. Shockingly, even though our practice intensity has been at heavy the entire time, we have not received any injuries yet, knock on wood here, but now we get ready for week 5 against Denver, and I don't think we've beaten them yet in this series. Last year we went 0-2 against them, even though they were one of the worst teams in the league. And we do finally pick up a win over them, 35-23. Isaiah Jordan, 21 for 39 attempts, 201 yards and 3 touchdowns. Guerrero once again could not do anything on the ground, averaged 0.8 yards a carry but managed to get 2 touchdowns. We held their quarterback to 23 of 35 for 194, 1 touchdown and a pick, and their running back ran for 116 yards and a touchdown. And now we have some more scouting points to use. Once again, still don't know if I'm using these as effectively as possible, but we'll scout Kendall Keller, who drops from a C+ to a C. We're trying to find some receivers now, and Fries drops from a C+ to a C. Any other receivers in this class that are that high? Does not look like it right now. Let's scroll all the way back up. Who is the highest rated receiver? It is going to be Marco Morgan, who is a 5'8" receiver, and he drops down to a C as well. And then here in the Central Division, we're going to start scouting some of these linebackers, and Terry drops from a C+ to a C. Let's scroll all the way back up, and let's scout Randy Holland, even though I doubt we'll be in a position to draft him. He is a B+. What if we scout him again? He drops down to a B. And over here, we will start looking at receivers again. So Fabian Pearson drops down to a C+ whenever you scout him. That is not good. What about Deshaun Romo? He goes to a C. And any other receivers here? Actually, let's scroll back up and find the highest rated receiver that we can find. And it looks like the only player out of the 3 that this guy is looking at, which is receiver, defensive back, and quarterback, the only one he seems to have found is a quarterback. So let's scout defensive back Jake Bush, who will drop down to a C. Alright, are we going to have to trade up and get 2 first-round picks? Let's scout Spencer Simon, who goes to an A. When you scout him again, he stays an A. And then what about Francisco Barnett? He drops to a C+ when you fully scout him. But now it is time for the Week 6 game against the Miami Warriors as we look to move on to 4-2. And we will not move on to 4-2. We drop to 3-3 as we lose this game 21-12. Jordan has an actually decent day, 21 of 38 for 300 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Guerrero once again not able to do much on the ground. We may have to make a change at running back. Angelo Carroll though, 12 catches for 157 yards and a touchdown. How did their quarterback do? 18 of 32 for 121, 2 touchdowns and a pick. And on the ground, Simon ran for 50 yards and a touchdown. Even with that loss, we stay in first place in the division, and our next opponent is the 4-2 Boston Whalers. And they absolutely smack us, 44-17. What the hell happened here? Jordan goes 19 for 29, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Guerrero finally has another good game, 21 carries for 127 yards, but obviously we don't get the win. Their quarterback goes 23 of 40 for 178 and 4 touchdowns, and the running back ran for 152 yards. And the final game I will simulate in this video is Week 8 against the St. Louis Racers. We are now second in the division, but it is a 3-way tie for the division right now. And we pick up the win in Week 8, 36-31 over the Racers. Let's see exactly what happened. Isaiah Jordan, 21 of 32 for 141 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Not a great day. Guerrero did run in for 2 touchdowns. Their quarterback still threw 4 touchdowns on us. 26 of 38 for 218 for 4 touchdowns. 1 receiver caught 3 touchdowns. After 8 games, here are the season stats. Isaiah Jordan has 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. On the ground, Richard Guerrero has 515 yards and 5 touchdowns. And receiving, Angelo Carroll, 52 catches, 444 yards, and 6 touchdowns, and Owens has 4 touchdowns. On defense, Keaton Weber has 45 tackles. What about sacks? That goes to Logan Valdez with 3, and interceptions, Marco Boone has 2. But that will wrap up episode 4 here. In the next video, we will obviously finish up season 2, and then we will get ready for another off season. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you guys next time.